the big zero. But I don't like the noise. What if it pops? What if it comes unraveled? What if I can't do it? There's too many things to make. What do I start with? Don't worry. If you have these or other concerns about starting to learn how to balloon twist, this video is perfect for you to start with. We're going to cover some of the most common concerns, worries, and doubts about learning how to tie balloons. And I'm going to show you some easy ways to get over these fears and how to do things a way that works. I want you to succeed. And I'm hoping that this video here will be the place to help you get started. So let's get going right now. Let's get it started with number 1. Now, one of the concerns I get more than any other when I'm starting to teach someone how to make balloons is, what if the balloon pops? Here's the thing. Balloons are made out of latex, natural material, harvested from trees, a lot like rubber. Really, the only thing different between the latex out of a tree and the balloons that we use is how they're processed, how they're rolled, really cool process, and how they're made. But then also the coloring that's added. Besides that, they are 100% latex. They are biodegradable. So, yes, balloons are going to pop sometimes, but there's things we can do to lower the chances. And I'm going to show you in this video that balloons are a lot stronger than you think they are. So here's the first thing. Balloons, there's not all the same. There's different brands. There's some that are high quality, some that are low quality. The ones you're getting from the dollar store, probably not the best quality. See, balloons are made in a couple different ways. One, you got to wonder about what type of latex they're using. Not all latex plants are the same. So there's high quality latex with less contaminants, even from the plant itself, and high quality latex, which is what I like to use because it gives me the best quality and I don't need to worry about them popping or having defects. There's also a lot of different brands. There's a dollar store brand. There's the high-end brands like Suppleflex, Decamex, Italtex. Qualitex used to be one of those brands before they went out of business. There's professional grade brands. So a big part of why you might be concerned they're popping is because they're not made out of the right materials. So if you are all ready to start doing balloons and you haven't got your balloons yet, I'm going to have at the bottom of the description a link of types of balloons that I recommend. Again, big ones are Italtex, Decamex, which is the brand I mostly use, Suppleflex. There's a few different brands that are out there that are high quality. So before you even start blowing up balloons, that can get rid of a lot of your concern about them popping right there. But here's the second thing. It's all about how you prep your balloon. So when you blow up your balloon, if you fill it all the way to the end, there's nowhere for the air to go. So that can be a problem because if there's no room for the air to go, the air is going to want to bust loose the latex and pop. But at the same point, these balloons are stronger than you think. I'm going to do a demonstration right now. The reason why I chose this clear balloon is because, well, it doesn't really have any dye to it. It's one of the easiest balloons to blow up. And really, it's one of the weakest in how the latex is processed. Because when they add the dyes, and it adds it more of like a bonding agent. So I'm going to show you something here. I'm blowing up that balloon all the way. See how at the end there's really no extra. There we go. Let's cover it, fill that up, gotta tie it up. And if you look carefully, there is no end on that balloon, no tail. But we're gonna do the classic 3-twist dog, even though there's nowhere for that air to go. Now, if you're in my class with me, I would actually have you feel each section as we go so you can feel how the pressure is building up. But you're here with YouTube, so unless we somehow meet together sometime, this will be as close as we get. So first thing I'm going to do is the head for my 3-twist dog. Now you can already notice that the end here is a little bit more rounded than it is here. That's because the pressure is building, but that's okay. So we're going to do it again. And now you can see it's even a little bit more so. If I touch the nose here, you can see that it's pretty soft, versus here, it's a little bit more pressure needed. Now, for the 3-twist dog, all I have to do is one more section, and guess what? No problem whatsoever. So even with no end, no space for the air to go, a good name brand balloon, even in some of the weakest color and the weakest way it can be made, is still very strong. Now, I'm going to do something kind of crazy. I'm going to add one more twist. And, again, just like I normally do. And now if you could feel this bubble here versus this bubble here, there is a big difference. You can tell how hard I have to push to get my finger down versus very easy. That balloon is tight. But what did it not do? Pop. Now if I want to, just for fun, look, it's a push me pull you, or a cat dog if you're from the 80s and 90s. So balloons are a lot more durable than you think they are. And you know what? You just added another twist. That balloon is under a ton of pressure, but a cylinder is actually a really strong structure when it comes to geometric shapes and how it holds pressures. That's why we have cylinders for air and helium and gases, because it wants to hold and it divides all that pressure evenly all the way around, up and down. So if it doesn't pop doing this, I hope that helps set your mind a little bit at ease. So let's review. First, get good quality balloons. Second, practice. Do this a couple times so you get comfortable knowing what that pressure feels like, because once you know, okay, this is the breaking point, then you know, hey, guess what? I don't need to go that far. Now I'm going to give you one more tip. It sounds a little crazy, and maybe it's just an old wives' tale that was told to me by a doctor. Don't know. I don't have the medical background to tell you if this is true or not, but it makes sense to me, so I'm going to pass it on to you. So on our hands, there's microscopic hairs, okay? When we're tense, scared, worried, or have any kind of fear, they stand up, kind of the part of the flight or fight sequence. When they're up like that, it's almost like a sandpaper on the balloon. If you're calm, relaxed, no big deal, they lay flat and almost act like a silk, nice and smooth. Now, don't know if that's quite true, but I heard it many years ago and it makes sense. It becomes almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. Kind of like if you're afraid of dogs, the dog can sense you're afraid of it and can act accordingly. If you're really relaxed around a dog, they're going to treat you better. They're going to tell that you're in control of the situation. And balloons, as crazy as it sounds, they can sense your fear. So be relaxed, be comfortable, just let it be. Worst case scenario, it pops. If you're using a pump, big whoop. Worst case scenario of all worst case scenarios is you're blowing up a balloon, it pops right at the end, it comes back and slaps you in the face. It happened in all the years I've been doing balloons. It has happened one time, and I got a black eye. It was when I was in high school. Try to explain that one to the teachers why you got a black eye from a balloon. Little hard to explain. So for your fear of popping, which is a universal thing, people don't like loud noises. Just relax, practice. The more times you deal with balloons, the more your comfort level is going to be. And after 100 or 200 balloons, it's not that big of a deal. Which brings up to our next point. Let's go for 2. The noise. I don't like the noise. I can't get over the noise. Well, if you don't like the noise, a couple different things. First of all, when you're first getting used to doing balloons and practicing, don't do it in a small space. Don't do it in a small room with flat walls where the noise echoes, or do it in a place where, it's practically a closet. Yes, it's nice so you have your own space to practice and you can work, but at the same point, everything you do is going to just be extra loud. So like in my balloon room where I do the filming in the studio here, believe it or not, my ceiling is carpeted, my floor is carpeted, my walls are carpeted. My closet that goes all the way from one side to the other actually has carpeting on that too. Why? Well, because when I was in high school, I liked listening to music, and this was my bedroom. And so to prevent the music from echoing out and blaring everyone else in the house, we did that. We also put some soundproofing in here. Now, I understand that most people can't have a room like that. That's fine. But when you're first starting practicing, maybe be in a room with a lot of furniture, like your living room. Or maybe if you have a basement and have furniture down there, do it down there out of the way. Another great place to practice is outdoors, because if it pops, there's nothing for it to echo back and to sound like a reverberation chamber. Get used to the noise slowly if you need to. Now, there are some people that it's just one of their tics, one of their hidden tics is the noise of balloons. Like some people just can't stand certain sights, certain sounds, certain things. Like if someone starts like playing with their eye, I can't do it. Like I can't clean my nose out with one of those, flute cleaners, because I just can't stand the feel of it. So there are some people, and I know a couple who are, one particular who is a caricature artist. So we always have to make sure we're in separate areas so he doesn't hear the popping and the squeaking. But there's just some people, and you'll know who you are, who just can't stand the sound of it. But for most people, hey, if you do enough balloons, you're not even going to hear them anymore. It's going to be like living next to a train track. Eventually, the trains are going to come right past in the middle of the night. It's not going to wake you up. It's going to come by during dinner. You're not even going to, you might stop the conversation for a second, but it's not even going to be something you really notice. I know that sounds weird if you don't have that kind of experience to build off of, but I have had several friends who have helped me at big events. They kind of act as my crowd support and help make sure I take care of myself. And if I need anything, they help me. They'll even tell you, after like the first event, they don't even hear the balloons anymore. They don't notice the balloons anymore because it's just part of the white noise. They're so used to it. And the more you practice with them, again, it'll become less and less. But again, ways that we prevent that, especially as we're building up to that, is go in a place where the sound won't reverberate. Again, this goes a lot with the popping a balloon one that the video we already did that talked about, getting good quality supplies and just getting used to twisting the balloons. Just practice. Get used to that. And if you need to, for the first couple times, listen to some music or something in the background while you're twisting so the noises of the balloons get lost in the noise that you enjoy. I've been doing it for 35 years. Unless somebody says something about the noise of the balloons, I am totally oblivious to it. Don't hear it at all. To me, it is just white noise. And so if that's an issue that you have, there's a solution, and I hope that helps you. Number 3. Another concern I often hear is, but my balloons keep coming undone. My bubbles keep coming undone. They won't stay. What do I do? Well, here's the solution, and we've talked about it in some of our technique videos. If you always hold your first and last bubble, they won't come undone. So let me demonstrate here. Oh, I love this color. So I'm going to do a string of pearls. Now, as long as I hold my first bubble and my last section, so in that case it would be this bubble here and this bubble here, I can make as many bubbles as I want and they won't come undone. The reason for this is I'm controlling the friction. I'm controlling the points where things would come undone. Now, if I did let go of this, there's nothing holding these two bubbles together, so it's going to come undone, and then that's going to come undone, and that's going to come undone, and it's going to work its way all the way. But as long as I keep those first bubble and last bubble together, they'll stay. And if I twist that first bubble and last bubble together, they'll stay. See? The problem comes if I let go of either one of those bubbles. They come undone. So as long as I'm holding my first and last bubble that I'm working on in that particular sequence, then we're good. Let me demonstrate it this way. If I'm making my teddy bear head, it is a 5-bubble sequence. Okay? So I make my teddy bear head, which we have a video for. So I have 1 bubble, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? As long as I hold those, the first section and last section, they'll stay good. As soon as I let go, what happened? They came undone. So, how do we prevent that from happening so we can keep moving on in our balloon? We just twist them together. So I got my balloons, I twist them together. Now that sequence is going to stay. And to make my teddy bear head, I just give that a little tug. Put my nose through there. Apply my ear twist. And that holds it. Okay? Now I can do the next sequence. And I don't need to hold that head while I'm doing it because that first sequence is a closed loop. And now I'm working on my second sequence. And again, if I let go, they come undone. But as long as I hold that sequence in line, I then can twist them together and again make another closed loop. Okay? And again, as long as I hold that first and last bubble, we are good to go. Okay? There we go. So, I hope that helps you with this one because it is so difficult when you're really trying hard and you're trying to do it and you're overthinking things of holding a bubble and not holding a bubble and where to go. If it comes undone, it's okay. Now, I will say this, the balloon will be a little softer. Like with the way this balloon is now, remember, I started with the air only in this place. All this is now pushed the air over. Because of that, it'd be really hard for me to twist and do anything with this balloon. So you use another balloon. They're cheap, okay? Especially when you're learning and practicing, you're gonna go through balloons. But just remember, if you let go, no big deal. Use that for a scrap for something else later, but remember, just hold on to your first and last bubble in your sequence, and you'll be okay. Okay? Hope that helps with that one. Fantastic number 4. How much air do I put in a balloon? Well, overinflating is a concern. So we do want to make sure we put less than we think we're going to need because as we're twisting the balloon, the air is going to move. Because what we're doing in essence is making lots of little chambers. And when we close one chamber, that air's got to go somewhere because we're taking a space this big, twisting it to be that big by closing the ends. So that little bit of air space, though it's not much, see just a little bit, it makes a difference as we're going. Keeps pushing that air. Now, let me do this demonstration. Let's say I want to make a bunch of turtles in a row. Okay? So if I'm going for 3, 4, or 5 turtles in a row, how much air should I put in there? Now, if I was making one turtle, I could pretty much use the whole balloon. But I have to think, for every bubble I make, every little chamber, it's going to push the air down about 1/4 of an inch or so. So if each turtle takes about 5 bubbles, that's going to be about 2.5 inches for each one. So 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. So I really only need about that much blown up. So let me do that. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, let's just do a little fun demonstration. We're going to make a bunch of turtles in a row. Now, I first saw a clown do this back at a Shriners Clown competition. Oh, probably almost 30 years ago. And I still remember because I thought it was cool, and it took me a long time before I could master this. This was his one balloon competition piece. I wish I knew who that clown was. But, so, the story in this one also is that each turtle gets a little smaller. This is great exercise for your proportions and bubble control. This is one of my favorite training exercises, actually, because it applies so many different things all at the same time. So if you notice, a lot of my tail has already disappeared. See? And I'm making my third turtle there. And each turtle gets a little smaller. So we got Papa Turtle, Mama Turtle, Big Brother Turtle. Let's see if we can make Little Sister. Again, every twist we make, that air moves down a little bit. These bubbles are really small. So I got to make sure that I keep my pressure on them. And so there's my 4 bubbles. Right there. See that? Let's see. Get that in. There we go. And going to add just a little bit so it has a tiny baby sister, has a little tail. Because all the other turtles are biting the tails of the ones in front of them, we'll say. All right. So as you can see, with 4 bubbles, or 4 turtles, I went from having a lot of tail to having no tail. See how that is? And this is because as we inflate our balloon, we have to keep in mind that for each bubble, it just pushes the air just a little bit. When we're doing something that only takes a couple twists, like the 3-twist dog, no big deal. And as we did in our demonstration piece, where we did more twists than we had room for, but the pressure built, right? Well, this one, the pressure is the same all the way through, but there's no tail. So hopefully that helps you figure out how much room they have. Now here's the thing. I will usually always end on this side of have too much tail. Because if I need to, I can just twist in an extra balloon at the end, or I will just cut off the end and blow it back up. So let me give you a demonstration of that. So let's say here, I'm making a 2-balloon dog. So I'm making my dog like normal. And we have a video on the page. You can find it by looking for a fancy balloon dog. And this is my standard dog that I will do for line work or things like that, where I want to make something a little fancier than just a 1 balloon dog. But at the same time, I want something quick. So let me just make this doggy here. Give him an ear. Give him another ear. Put that eyeball in. Okay. Now I've noticed here that I will have a problem because this one's a little too short. Because I want them about the same size because I'm going to be making the legs and the body out of these 2 balloons that remain. So here's your options. Either just just tear off this purple piece now, since you know that you're going to be too short, and save that for extra later, or inflate the back of it. So what I do, tear that part off, grab my balloon pump, put it in there, or if you're a mouth inflator, and then just tie it. And then I twist it again, just like I would have. Now, by doing that, I actually don't have that many pops because of pressure. And I'd rather just add a balloon or add more air than to bust the balloon. So now I pretty much have it all perfectly put. High my nozzle, or high my tail. And just like that, I have my balloon doggy. And again, not a big deal. If you add too much air, you're going to get a pop. So you just take care of it before it gets to that point. If you don't have enough air, just put another balloon in it. Okay, you use an extra balloon. Or just cut off the end, inflate it up a little bit, and all good. Kid has no idea. So that's what I would do for improper inflation concerns. It's not really a concern at all. You got this. Number 5. Now, out of the techniques that people have concerns about is the pinch twist. Pinch twist is my favorite twist. The ear twist, the pinch twist, the pop twist, they all go together so beautifully, and they give you so much flexibility in what you do and how the shape takes place. But there are people who really are concerned because it just feels different than a regular twist. So I'm going to break it down, but I have a whole video on just this one technique. Highly encourage you to watch it, but let's just do a demonstration where I see people have concerns. So if you have your bubbles, okay, and you're twisting them together, okay, you got your sequence of 3 here, and you want to do an ear twist there. For some reason, people just, they have a timidness, that's a word, they're timid about doing this movement. So it's really simple. Just put your thumb right in there, okay? With your thumb up, get a good grab on it, and just twist it. As your hand is going one direction, so my hand is coming toward me, I'm twisting my other hand away from me. By doing this, I have my ear twist. You're not going to hurt the balloon. You're going to feel a little bit of pressure because the other bubbles are wanting to hold it in place. But once you get that movement, again, just twist it together, okay? It's going to take less pressure than opening up a can of spaghetti sauce. Just give it a good whack, and you'll be good to go. So that is the ear twist. Now, the ear twist goes into the pinch twist, now, or the split twist, either one. So here's how you do it. There's a couple different ways. One is the traditional way, is you take your bubble, okay? And you're going to push it through that little space, okay? And if you look carefully, okay, you see right there, there's that groove? I'm going to actually push it up into that groove. So I use the latex material, okay, to split my bubble. And instead of having one bubble, I now have 2. Now, this is great for a lot of different uses, but the big thing that this is useful for is if you're actually going to do what's called a pop twist. So let me show you that. Again, we have videos on these, but I want to put this all on this frequently asked questions and concerns list because I know these are things people are worried about. So let's say I want to split my balloon. So I'm going to make my sequence, okay? And this is a sequence here of 5, a lot like we do for our teddy bear and other heads. But what we're going to do is we're going to do an ear twist here and an ear twist here, okay? Now, if I pop this balloon right here, there's nothing holding these bubbles together, so the air is just going to escape. But by doing the split twist, so I'm going to go in, divide my bubble, and pull up, okay? Again, that's the main way you do it. Some people do it a different way, where they'll just take their bubble and kind of twist it upon itself. You can do it that way. I don't feel it's as firm and lasts as long, but it is another way some people do it. Find which way works for you. But by doing both of those split twists, okay, on either side, now, whoops, we can pop this middle balloon. And the air is not going to go anywhere because the extra piece of balloon is tied in to our split twist. So when we popped it, doing a pop twist, they stay. So it's actually pretty foolproof. Once you do it a couple times, you'll feel really comfortable with it. But that's how you do the split twist, the pop twist. So you start off with an ear twist, go to a split twist, and then finish it with a pop twist. It's just transforming from one twist to the next. And hopefully that gives you and some ideas. A little dagger. Number 6. All right, this is one I do get a lot. Especially if you see someone like me twist and you see how quickly my fingers move and the speed I go and how easy it is for my hands just to flow with the balloon. Common nature of just being a person is wanting to compare yourself to others. Let me tell you this right now. If you see me twist, understand this. I spent years working on my dexterity. I've spent years working on my speed. At one point, I spent 3 years not even worried about what I was making, but just working on my dexterity and speed, like with the chain of bubbles that I make, the chain of pearls. I just did that a lot. Doing the turtles, I've done that hundreds, if not thousands of times. Because I knew that for me to get where I wanted to so I can make things quicker, and though I only have 2 to 3 minutes per kid in line when I do line work, I want to make them the fanciest things I can in that time period. Again, because for me, balloons are about the art. I go by the balloon sculptor as my name for a reason, because I see the art in it and I want to show others that passion I have for the art of it. Yes, I can make a balloon dog, and let's see here. Ready? Done. I could do that all day. Or if I was making a balloon sword. Again, I could do that for a line and get my line so it's not even a line to begin with. But I rather still maintain my line, but just take it up that notch. So I spent the time just working on speed and dexterity. So as you're just getting started, don't worry about it. Just get the movements right. Be able to make 10 balloon dogs in a row where they all look about the same, where all your bubble proportions are about the same. Get comfortable doing that. Then you know what? Try a couple with your eyes closed. Build up that muscle memory. The muscle memory is the number one thing you can do to increase your speed and dexterity. Let your fingers tell your brain what it needs to do. I had to take a couple years off of doing balloons a couple times in my life for different reasons. And it was amazing to me that, especially the last time I had to do it, I came back to it, had a gig that was by request, is a big corporate event, and it was amazing to me how quickly certain balloon patterns came back to me. Things that I hadn't made, frankly, in a couple years at that point. Even simple things like a 1 balloon teddy bear or 2 balloon dog or things like that. My muscles of my body had made so many of those over the years that as soon as someone said, hey, I want a dog or I want a teddy bear, my body remembered quicker than my mind did. And then when that happens, the dexterity and the speed will come. But work on those bubbles. Yeah, are your hands going to get sore? Yes. But we're going to talk about that in a minute, because that's another one that people have concerns about. Here comes number 7. My hands are getting tired. They're sore. What do I do? Here's the thing. Anytime you do something new, you're going to get sore, right? If you ride a bike for the first time in years, I'm guessing your backside is going to be a little sore from that seat because you're not used to it. I know I'm sure not anymore. And I used to ride my bike daily. Did a bike ride one time across Michigan over 6 days with my dad. I was very comfortable on the bike, but guess what? I'm not anymore. And I have a cushion on top of my cushion for my bike seat. And I still can't ride it for more than a mile or two. And if you lift weights, what do they tell you? Start off slow, let your body get used to it, and then go for it. Because otherwise, you might not feel it right away, but you're going to feel it. Balloons are very similar. If you have never tied a balloon before, or it's been a while, even after I came back to doing it after taking a couple years off, my fingers got extremely red and the skin started peeling because it wasn't used to that. Same thing if you play guitar. You have to build up those calluses on your fingertips so that your fingers won't hurt, they won't bleed, and you'll be fine. When you're getting into balloons, same thing. Take your time. Don't try to do 100 your first day. Do 10 or 15. Take a little break. See how your fingers and hands are feeling. Build up, keep building up, and eventually you won't have any worries. Your body will figure out ways of protecting itself so that your body's used to it. So I do some gigs where I'll twist straight for 12 hours. This is not good, but I won't take any breaks. I'm used to it. So I don't go to the bathroom during those times. I control what I eat, if I eat at all. I know how to maintain my sugars enough so that, I can keep going. And when I do need to, take a couple bites. But I can now go 12 hours, 2-3 days in a row without my hands getting tired. But I've had to build up to that. Because think about it, when you're twisting a balloon, okay, there's resistance. You have closed air in this bubble, closed air in this bubble, and when you try to put those together, it's just like a resistance band. There's pressure pushing against it. So your fingers, though it doesn't seem like much, it's going to add up. So here's my tip. Do some finger exercises, okay? Before I do a day of balloon twisting, I'll just do some dexterity exercises. Thumb to forefinger, keep going back and forth. That just kind of loosens up my fingers, okay? Again, some stretching. Just little motions here, okay? Maybe some motions with my arms to get some movement. If you have one of those little squeezy balls while you're watching TV, just do that. Some clay works real well too, some Play-Doh. Just stretch those hands a little bit, just a little bit of resistance, and it will strengthen the muscles and the tendons in your hands. Now, if it starts hurting, please stop. If you're noticing that they're getting sore, take a breather, take a break. But you'll notice that eventually it's kind of like any exercise, swimming, running, anything. You're eventually going to be able to go farther and farther without feeling it. And it's going to become natural. So work on those. It's going to help you in the long run. And it might be a day like, I don't have time to practice balloons today. Spend 5 minutes. Just grab some balloons, do some finger exercises, do those chain of pearls, maybe make a couple dogs. Just do something, spend 5 minutes. Keep those fingers loose. It'll feel good and help. Also, it helps to keep your hands nice and soft. So here's what I do every night. I have a cocoa Vaseline, cocoa balm Vaseline or whatever. And it gets cocoa butter. And it gets deep into my hands. It keeps them nice and soft. Every night I put some on before I go to bed. And it keeps them from getting dried, cracked, especially during the winter months when you already have problems with dry skin. Dealing with the balloons that have, powder inside of them and it gets on the outside, it just sucks all that moisture. So by doing those simple things, you're going to notice a difference in how your hands feel. 1, practice. 2, just build up the dexterity, keeping your fingers loose, it helps. Some people like to crack their fingers, some people don't. You know who you are if you like to do it or not. But let your fingers just flow. Don't be stressed out going, I gotta do this. Just let it flow. You'll feel the balloon and you'll notice that things flow better. So for those who are concerned about the, hands getting sore, or how to maintain your hands, those are the things I would do. Little exercises daily, twisting when you can, and keeping good care of your hands. There's a lot of videos on YouTube for just hand exercises, hand strengthening, how to limber up your fingers. Watch a couple of those videos, and you'll find some exercises that work well for you. And maybe before you twist each day, just do 5 minutes of those. And I hope that helps and becomes no longer a concern, but something that makes a difference. Number 8. So what balloons do I actually get? Do I have the right supplies? There's so much stuff out there. Okay. So I'm going to take it at this moment. If you're watching this video, either you bought some cheap balloons, a cheap pump, or you haven't bought anything yet. Maybe I'm wrong. That'd be great. I hate to be the one that busts your bubble on this concern. Cheap supplies don't work in balloons. They're making out of cheaper latex or poor quality, or latex that has more weaknesses in them through the process. Same with pumps. Now you can every now and then find a hand pump for $5. With pumps, if they're a hand pump, you want something that's a double pump. So if you push in or pull out, it inflates the balloon. You don't want one that is a one-way pump. They don't work. You'll get very frustrated. It's double the work, half the effort. And frankly, while the balloon is waiting to go to the next bubble, it's going to get soft, and it's just, if you need to get a hand pump, get one that's a double pump. If you're taking balloons more seriously and you've gotten comfortable with using the hand pump, there's other options after that. There's a couple companies that make PVC pipe ones where you stand and you push down and either the nozzle shoots them out or up. Those are great. Especially if you are a twister who stands up while twisting, it's all right there. They're a bit on the pricey side, and they can take a while to get them because usually the few companies that do make them, it's guys who are making them out of their workshops. They make great things, don't get me wrong, but they sometimes can take a while to get your hands on one. The other option is electric pumps or battery power pumps. And there's a lot of different varieties on Amazon and other places that you can get. Find one that has good reviews. But again, don't spend too much to get started, but you want to spend probably between $30 and $60 once you get to that point. And it will save your arms because you're not pumping. It will let you just focus on the balloon. If I was not a mouth inflator, that's what I would do. Okay, let's talk about mouth inflating. I don't recommend it. If you're just getting started or if you're under the age of 18, I'm going to be honest with you. Don't do it. There's health concerns. There's challenges. There's problems with it. Do I mouth inflate? Yes. And I know what that sounds like, me saying don't do it. But let me explain. When I first started doing balloons, we didn't really have pumps. 35 years ago, there just wasn't what we have now. There wasn't electric pumps at all. And even the PVC pipe ones, my dad had to make mine, and it was really heavy, very awkward to use. And half the time, it didn't work because the seal would come undone. And hand pumps just were not a thing back then. So back then, if you were going to be a serious balloon artist, balloon twister, most likely eventually, if you could, you learn how to do it by mouth. And there's a method that I used to learn that was taught to me, and I do teach it occasionally, but it takes about a month of at least 5 minutes a day to train your lungs how to breathe the right way by doing things in a particular order, and it takes time and commitment. Here's why not to. I've had people who take in my balloons without my permission and try to blow them up. One gentleman in particular, who's actually a friend of mine, and he tried so hard, he passed out. He was at a restaurant, and his head hit the table, the chair, and then the floor. Yeah, he passed out. Not pretty. There's other reasons also. Especially if your lungs aren't developed yet, it can cause damage. When I did my world records for most balloons blown up by mouth and made in animals in 24 hours, the first time I did it at 6,176, and then a gentleman beat me, and then I beat him, and I got it at 8,298. That's from the first time. The thing is Guinness, when they first discussed with me, and it took several years for them to say they would look at the record, classified it in the same danger level as jumping over cars with a motorcycle. Okay, that sounds a little extreme. Blowing up balloons by mouth, jumping over cars with a motorcycle. But this was their concern. The human lungs are a very precise tool. They're made to be used for one thing, to take air in, let air out, okay? It's not meant to be pressurized that much for that long. In 24 hours, that's a lot of blowing up balloons. So if you don't do it by mouth, I would recommend you don't. We have wonderful tools nowadays. And truthfully, I'm getting to a point where I'm really considering going to an electric pump if I can find one that will work for my needs. Unfortunately, up to this point, I haven't found one that can keep up with me because I've become one with my lungs. It's very natural for me to blow it up, twist it, and it's all one motion. I need to find a pump that can help me and not hurt me and slow me down. Hopefully I'll find one of those someday. Hey, any companies out there who make electric pumps and want to send one my way, please. I'd love to try them out and give my honest feedback on it, and I'll be fair. Let's see who can do a quicker 100 balloons. But as far as supplies come, find yourself a hand pump. You can find them from Amazon. There's a couple companies that make a double-sided hand pump, and use that to practice with. Yes, it will take you a bunch of pumps to blow it all the way up, but it will work. You can get one, again, probably under 10 bucks, 5 to 10 bucks, I'm guessing. And you'll have it with you. Recommend get a couple in case one breaks. That way you have it ready to go. So what about the other supplies? So I recommend you go to a reputable balloon company, most likely online. Now, there are some wholesalers that are in different states. I know there's one in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I know there's one in Livonia, Michigan. I know there's some in, I think there was one in Denver, Colorado when I used to live down there. There's balloon places that you can look up wholesale balloon supplies, or there's mail orders. I get mine from a place called Bargain Balloons. They're online. They're based in Canada, I believe close to Toronto area. And they have 3 or 4 of the major balloon companies. They don't have all of them. And they're the only place that you can get in North America the balloon brand Decamex, which is the main balloon supply that I use right now. Looking at some other brands, but that's the one that so far I've been happy overall with most of their colors and how they feel. But what I would recommend is contact Bargain Balloons, go on their website. You're going to look up 260s, 2-inch diameter, 60 inches long. And you're going to look up their assorted colors. Get a couple different brands. The reason why I want you to get a couple different brands, especially if you can get like their traditional assortments that has, the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violets, because I want you to compare them. Some balloons brands are softer. Some are really soft to the point where I don't like them because they're so soft that I feel like I'm going to break them just by touching them. There's other brands like Decamex and Calkin, I believe, is the one that does this kind with a mirror gloss on them, that they're very firm. A lot of people don't like how firm they are, especially if they're building up their hands. I like them because I am extremely rough on my balloons. If you see my videos, you see that I twist hard and I twist fast. I am not gentle on my balloons at all, and I'm okay with that. And thankfully, my balloons are too. So by getting several different brands, you're going to be able to try, see what you like to feel, how they feel, how they blow up for you. Again, if I was using a pump, and especially a hand pump, I might use a different brand than I do for mouth inflating. Because for mouth inflating, one of the most important things for me is I need a good lip. Some balloons have a very shallow lip, which is very hard to hold with your mouth. Other brands have a very thick lip, which makes it really easy for me to hold in my mouth and give just enough air, space for the air to get out while still holding in place. You're also going to be able to see colors. Ooh, I like this red compared to this red. Or this blue versus this blue. I want a dark blue, I want a lighter blue. Those are all things that each brand has a little bit different how they look. Now, there are some people who have made an amazing list, and you can find them online sometimes, especially if you're part of the Facebook groups, where they have taken every brand and every color and have made a very complete list and saying, okay, this brand's robin egg blue is similar to this dusty blue or gray blue or things like that. And especially if you're a decorator, you need to know how all those colors work together. Me, I usually like having 3 shades of orange, 3 shades of red. So I have a dark orange, a light orange, and a regular orange, so that I have some variety. But if you're just getting started, get the assorteds. Get a couple different brands, experiment with them, try them out, try a couple different companies to order balloons from, see which ones you like, see which ones, some give you better discounts if you order, let's say, order a couple $100 worth of balloons. They will take a percentage off your order, plus they'll give you free shipping. My company that I mainly get from, Bargain Balloons, doesn't matter how many balloons you order, there's no extra discount because their prices are already lower than a lot of places, but it's $8 no matter how many balloons for shipping. So if I buy 1 bag of balloons, $8 for shipping. If I buy 30 bags of balloon, it's $8 from shipping. So figure out what works for you. But again, main thing is start off with the 260, try some different brands, get some different color variety in there, get a pump that you can get comfortable with, and then the last real tool that you really need for supplies, because you can figure out different ways of storing your balloons, and you can keep them in the bag, especially if you're just getting started, just keep them in the bags. Look for the color you need. For me, I organize my balloons by color. I put them in bunches of 50 when I start them off, and then I put them in my bag so that I have them in easy for access and I know where the colors are based on how I hold my bag. You don't need to worry about that to start off with. Use clear plastic bags to sort them out if you want. That's how I started. I started with a suitcase with little compartments with plexi cardboard, that white cardboard plastic stuff. And I made compartments. I've used so many different ways over the years. Some people use aprons to walk around with their balloons. Don't worry about that right now. The main supplies you need to get started are a pump to inflate them, the balloons themselves, and after that, a marker. The good old standby, highly recommend. They haven't changed their formula in years, thankfully, is Sharpie. Now, they make a lot of different types. I recommend the standard fine point, because if you use the extra fine point with the metal, it can break a balloon if you push too hard. They dry quickly. You can buy an assortment of them, especially when school year starts, or a couple of different times a year, they'll have big deals where they end up being like 50 cents a marker or less. And they have a wide variety of colors. The other thing with Sharpies is they do have like the thick tips, the chisel tips is what they're called, which gives you some variety. I can get my big marks, or I can use just the point there and get a fine detail. They don't come in as many colors, but they work well. Now, Sharpie has recently released their creative markers, which has kind of like a paint tip to it. I like these colors. They're vibrant, they're good. One concern with them though, they don't dry quickly. So if I'm making something, okay, and I make my mark, and if I even let that dry in the same time that I take a regular, here's the thing, the red one that I just used already dried to the touch, okay? The blue one, not. So if you're twisting it, you might smudge it, it might come undone. I also know that they don't stay permanently as well. There's some things that they work really good for, and especially if it's something you're making that your kids aren't going to be touching, it's more of a display piece. I love those. Now there is one other marker that I really like having. It is a Sharpie, and I believe I have one in my bag here. Let's see. Oh, maybe it fell out. Let's see. Yep. But it is a Sharpie white marker. It's a paint marker. And the nice thing about it that I like, here it is. It's a thick paint. You have to give it a little shake. Okay. It almost comes out like a whiteout. But once that's dry, again, it takes a little bit. It makes a great background, okay, for your other color to really stand out. Okay. So Sharpie is the brand that I mainly recommend. Now there are some other ones, Mark-A-Lot, they've been around forever. What you'll find out though is some balloons or some markers have a higher acid content, which is great for a marker because that alcohol, the acid will disperse in the air pretty quick. So, which is great. Alcohol, fine with a marker. I don't like the smell necessarily of them. Sharpies have a pretty low smell, but that alcohol doesn't eat through the balloon. That alcohol does eat through a balloon. A Sharpie doesn't. So if you're thinking about trying some different markers, especially if you already have some at home, main thing is permanent marker. Make sure it's not alcohol-based marker. And try it out on a few balloons and give it a day to see what it does to them. If you make a mark like this on them and 24 hours later, it still looks the same, the balloon has a bust or the bubble hasn't gotten really small because now the micro particles of the air are slowly leaking out, then it's perfectly fine to use. But that's just a little tidbit. So the 3 supplies that you need to worry about when you first get started: balloons, marker, way to inflate the balloons. You can get a full setup to start off for under 20 bucks. That's probably a couple hundred balloons. That's a cheap pump and a couple markers, which you probably already have. Look at different brands for your balloons. Different brands cost different amounts. Also look for the quantity in each bundle. Some are going to be what's called nozzle up. So when you get your bag of balloons, they're going to have all the nozzles already pointed straight up. So you don't need to mix through them to get them all the same way if you're going to put them like this, which is great. And it does save time. And sometimes I'll do that. But other times it saves you $1 to not do it that way. And truthfully, I can just straighten them out while I'm watching TV or something like that and save that money. It's a convenience thing. If I have them pre-made, and I think I have one in here. I think I got my dark blue that's that way. Let me see real quick. Yep. Oh, well, this is what they look like. This is Calisan. This is the the mirror version of the balloons, okay, Calisan. And they'll have 50 balloons in here, and all the nozzles are automatically straight up. This is great if you're willing to pay for the convenience, because you just open it up, throw it right in your bag. You don't need to spend time sorting them, organizing them. Decamix, I got to sort through them. But what I like about them is 50 of them are pretty much one way, 50 of them are the other way. I just have to, all the nozzles go this side, all the nozzles go this way, separate them, and I'm good to go. It doesn't take me that long to do my sorting. But again, I'd rather save a little money and get the balloons I need the way I want them. All right, so those are your supplies. Got any questions? Feel free to leave a comment. Number 9. Another concern I get, especially from people who have not done balloons before, or they've only ever tied a round balloon, is how do I tie a balloon? Now with a round balloon, they give you a little bit extra nozzle so you can tie. When you blow up a balloon, if you don't prepare your balloon the right way, you won't give yourself the nozzle. So when I inflate a balloon, I automatically put my thumb and forefinger a little bit down from the nozzle. So there's a nozzle. Now I'm creating that channel so that I can tie my balloon. And I have a whole video on just how to tie a balloon. So we'll link it so you can watch it. But by having that extra nozzle, I have more room to do the movement to get the balloon around my fingers and to push it through the gap I create. And by giving it a little tug, I tie the balloon. Now, for some people, this is a big concern that they won't even get into trying balloons because they're afraid of it. But once you try a couple times, you'll realize it's actually tying your shoes is probably more difficult than tying a balloon knot, because you got two pieces that you're working together. I'll be honest, my shoes are almost always untied because the knots I tie don't stay. Balloons don't have that issue because it's one single piece of material that you're just tying upon itself. If you can tie a knot in a rope, you can tie a balloon knot. It's just a straight old granny knot, okay? And you're using your fingers to create a channel, and you're straight through. Try it a couple times. I know you can do this. I know you got this, okay? Cool. The Big 10. But my dog doesn't look like a dog. It looks like a bobcat. I don't know. Here's the thing. Proportions and bubble size, they're going to come with practice. One reason why I recommend doing something like the turtle or anything that is repetitive is, one, you're going to create muscle memory, but two, it's going to make you, so you have to be aware of your proportions. Now, here's the thing. A dog with really long ears is a bunny rabbit. A dog with a really long tail and a shorter body is now a cat if you're doing a one balloon. Proportions, yeah, they matter. And the nice thing about most things in nature, especially most living things, besides trees, but even flowers, if you do a cut from top to bottom, separate left from right, what's on one side is pretty much a mirror image of what's on the other. So when you're doing your balloons, okay, use that as a self-correcting mechanism. So if I'm making feet, okay, and I have one short leg and one long leg, I can tell right away something's not right. Okay, it's just not quite. Yes, that smaller leg stretches out, okay, to fill the space, but it's not the same diameter. So what you do on one side, use it to guide you on what you do the other side. So if I'm got that bubble there, and I like that size for my leg, I'm going to take the other bubble, and I'm going to match them up, and I'm going to twist so that my two bubbles are the same. Now, when you're first starting off doing balloons, this is going to take some concentration at. Once you get comfortable with doing balloons and build some muscle memory and your fingers start telling your brain what to do. You're not going to have to focus on it. Your mind is going to do it unconsciously. Okay, it's going to pick up on those things. Now, let's say my front and back legs are different. Well, guess what? This is now a ferret on his hindquarters. Or it's a kangaroo. Okay? Proportions are your friend. Have fun with them. Experiment with them. Okay, if I do my teddy bear, but with longer top legs and shorter bottom legs, what does that look like? What if I change this? What if I do that? Don't let it be a concern. Let it be a creative jumping point. It's going to be okay. If things are a little wonky or things are a little bit like one of my mentors would call them science experiments, it's okay. We learn from science experiments. That's how we grow. That's how we get better. It's okay to fail. So the more times you do it, the more time you'll have to correct things, and it become more second nature. You'll be good to go. Number 11. But where do I start? Well, thankfully, you found my YouTube page, The Balloon Sculptor. And I have a list, the beginner's list. And it teaches you techniques, and it teaches you how to build off those, and you can keep growing. Now, if you go to my website, www.theballoonsculptor.com, there is a section. It's 20 videos in a row. If you go from the first video to the 20th video, you will learn techniques and also learn how to make different sculptures. We literally start off with, this is a balloon. Then we go, how to make a bubble. This is a loop twist. This is how you make the loop twist dog. This is a regular bubble. This is how you make the regular dog. This is an ear twist. Now this is how you use the ear twist in a teddy bear. That is a great place to start, because in those 20 steps, truthfully, you can do it all in an hour or two. Each video is only usually a couple minutes long. But if you go through that full process, you will understand the basic movements and how to use them for balloons. Then you can figure out what you want. I recommend start off with 10 things. If you can learn how to do 10 things and do them properly and quickly, you can do basic balloons at, let's say, your kid's birthday party, no problem, and you'll give people more options than they think they're going to get. So when I'm doing balloons and I have to make them quick and I'm just doing 1 or 2 balloons per a kid, so I do dog, cat, teddy bear, hat, sword, butterfly, flower. Then I'll do maybe a secondary hat. I'll do something that's maybe seasonal, like for Halloween, I did a pumpkin. And then I'll do something that maybe it's a little bit fancier, but maybe not. Maybe I'll do a different type of flower. Or I'll do something that they can wear on their wrist. Or if there's a certain animal that's really popular right then, like a teddy bear. Well, I already said teddy bear. So, but with just having a list of 10 things and mastering those 10 things, you'll be doing pretty good. Then try maybe 1 or 2 a week, add something. And what you're going to realize is something really cool. Balloons are a lot like letters in the alphabet. There's 26 letters in the alphabet in English, but according to Webster's Dictionary, there's over 500,000 words. In balloons, there's only so many ways you can twist, untwist, break, or bend a balloon. But the possibilities are pretty much endless. Learn the techniques, and then start having fun. Watch videos from me and from others where we show you how those techniques work as a part of those pieces. You'll see in my videos, even the advanced ones, I'll tell you, hey, we're using the ear twist technique. If you don't know how to use it, watch that video. Hey, now we're using the splits technique. Now we're doing the roll through. Now we're doing the tulip twist or the marriage twist. Once you learn the basic twist, really, it's now about how I put those twists together or how I put my letters together to form a word. And then you're off to the races. Number 12. start with the actual twisting. What are the basic techniques? Well, there's really only so many twists that on a normal sculpture you're going to have to do. The standard twist, you might do an ear twist, you might do a pop twist or a split twist, you might do a roll through. There's really not that many different ways. But cool thing is we have videos on here in our technique section for every single major technique and how to use it. So spend time, learn the techniques. We teach it in a fun way. You can also go to my website, theballoonsculptor.com, www.theballoonsculptor.com, and I have a section there on how to twist balloons, and I have 20 different videos. It's a 20-step process, and it takes you from not knowing anything to even all the way to how to learn to weave a balloon, to make baskets. It's showing the technique, then it shows you how to use the technique and what to use it for, and then you learn another technique and you keep building. And they're in a specific order so that it makes it real simple for you to move forward on your journey. And even on the advanced balloon videos I do, whenever there's a technique that I use for the first time in the video, usually you'll hear me say, and if you don't remember how to do this or you don't know how to use this technique, watch this video. Because I believe balloons are, you build off of. Until you know how to use this technique, the ear twist, you really can't make a teddy bear. So let's teach you how to do the ear twist, then we make a teddy bear. Now once we know how to do the ear twist, we now can do a split twist. Once we know how to do a split twist, we now can do a pop twist. Now we do know how to do the pop twist, we can make things like intricate flowers that are just, you have a lot of different spokes. So yes, it can seem overwhelming, but it's not really. Take it step by step, learn, apply, master, then learn, apply, and master. You got this. I believe in you. Number 13. Hopefully that's lucky. The easiest balloon to make is a 3-twist dog. It's very simple, very easy. We actually have a whole balloon video on it, but let me show you what it looks like. You blow up a balloon, you tie it. Then, and you tie it. Then you fold it, give it a little squeeze. Where you squeeze is where you twist. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. That is the easiest balloon to make. A 3-twist balloon dog. And we have the video for it on here. We also have the video on just how to do this one technique here called the fold twist. So you can jump right in if you want, but I recommend watch the fold twist video first because it will make sense and why it works. There we go. Number 14. So are the balloons biodegradable? Are they bad for the environment? This is one I get all the time, and truthfully, it's a good question to ask. Now, I will say this. There are some balloons that aren't good for the environment. Those metallic ones that you see that are made out of mylar, if you're driving down the road, you'll see them, especially at the graduation season and things like that. Those are horrible for the environment. They do not fall apart. They're not biodegradable. They're great if you're making something out of them in a display piece because you can keep refilling them, reusing them. But they're horrible for the environment. If you use those for like balloon decor, cool. Just don't let them get away from you. If you fill them with helium, make sure they're secure. Please, 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 do not, even with regular balloons, the round balloons, do releases in the air. They are horrible for the environment. They can get into the water supply. I know, especially if you're on one of the coast, it's actually a big law not to because of how much damage they can do to sea life. Because what goes up eventually will come down. And animals will get attracted to the colors and they'll try to eat it, cause damage to them. They can, especially like the metallic ones and mylar ones, I've heard of them bringing down electrical systems because they'll get into electrical wires. There was a big thing in Ohio, back in the 80s, where they were going for the record for the most balloons released, and the video is amazing. But the balloons actually caused problems with the flight system. It became a huge, huge issue. The news articles and videos on it are, well, let's just say that it was not the intended result that they were going for. And unfortunately, people still do them today. As a Christian, I know people who try to do crosses around Easter, and they'll, it's symbolizing the resurrection. I love the look. I love the meaning that you were putting behind it. And like when people will do the rosary, or it breaks my heart when people do it for a child that didn't make it. Because I know they're doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it for the symbolism, and there's power in that symbolism. I understand that. And trust me, I can appreciate that in a lot of ways. However, there's other ways of doing it. And I hope to actually be having a video soon, if not already by the time you see this, that shows an environmentally friendly way that you can do a balloon release. But to go back to the original questions, are balloons biodegradable? So the balloons I use, Decamex, primarily. It actually says right on the bag, and this little logo right here, biodegradable. It then has the logo for the different recycling methods, okay, for the bag. And it says right on here that the bag itself is recyclable plastic. Latex balloons are just that. They're made out of latex that are harvested from plants, most likely a shrubbery or a tree. And it's very similar to how rubber is harvested. It doesn't hurt the plant. It can be harvested year after year. And the materials then are taken, colors added. The way that we get our shapes for our balloons is they put them on like these straws. They have these straws. They have like a talcum powder on them. They dip the straws into the liquid latex. They pull them out. They dry. They then have like these little rings, little scrubbers that roll the balloon off to get the nozzle, and then a puff of air shoots them off the rest of the way. A lot of times they'll even go through a special wash in the process that narrows down the effect of the latex allergy. Qualitex used to advertise that even on one of their, there's a show you can find on YouTube, and how's that made? And there was specifically about balloons. But balloons are biodegradable. There is a gentleman who has done a lot of different balloon science experiments over the years. I believe his name is Mark, if I get that right. But he actually did an experiment where he had a group of maple leaves that he put in his biomix, and also some balloons in there, and kept turning them over at the same rate, and he noticed that the balloons were pretty much gone and degraded at the same rate as the maple leaf. I've done similar experiments myself where, I'll purposely bury some, and they'll just deteriorate. Especially if they're, rain, sun eats through a balloon like nothing else. Heat, they'll get very brittle and they'll start breaking apart. So are balloons biodegradable? Yes. Are they safe for the environment? Yes. Now, and was saying that you don't want to leave scraps everywhere that birds or other animals can eat. I don't know what's going to do on their individual digestive systems. But overall, it's fine. When I make a big balloon sculpture and then we pop it for charity, especially if it's outside, I'll be out there with brooms. And I'll do the best I can to get every little piece. But if I miss a piece, you know what? It's going to be okay. As long as I get the majority of it and get it as best I can. So, yes, balloons, the latex balloons, especially the kind that you're making balloon animals out of, are biodegradable. So I hope that helps you out. You can have fun with environmental friendly things. Number 15. Are balloons a choking hazard? Yes. If a balloon pops in a child's mouth, it can get stuck in the windpipe, just like a lot of things can. So here's the thing. Don't make balloons for little kids. If they have a tendency of exploring the world with their mouth, which little kids do, they want to taste things, they want to get the sensation of things. That's how real little kids do explore, up to 1, 2 years old even sometimes. I don't give those kids a balloon. I'll give their parents a balloon, and I'll explain to the parents the dangers of a balloon. Now, if you're just holding a balloon, chances are there's no choking hazard because it's not getting anywhere close to the mouth. But there's always a risk. So we have to take and prepare and know how to use our art form the right way. That means taking responsibility of being alert and aware. So if I see a real little kid in line, I'll even say right out there, saying, folks, especially parents, just so you know, a balloon can be a choking hazard and can cause harm to your child if they bite it, pop it, and it gets in their throat. It's very hard to get that little piece out. This is me as a former EMT and a lifeguard, okay? There are certain things that are easier to pull out of a child's mouth if they're choking. Food, you can get that finger in there, okay? You can use the modified backslap method with them upside down to push things through. Unfortunately, balloons are just pretty much if it's a little pop, it's going to be pretty flimsy. It's hard to get that reverse vacuum effect to pop it out. So yes, there is a danger in it. Be aware of that danger. Don't let your pets chew on your balloons. My dog, I loved her very much. And I had her when I was a little kid up to I was in college. And she hated the noise of my balloons. So she would never try to pop a balloon. Now, I do know some dogs, and I've even seen a video the other day of a dog breaking 100 balloons by jumping around and biting at them. Personally, I wouldn't do that because I would be afraid of it getting in their throat. But if dogs trained the right way, I guess it's okay. But be aware, I'll have sometimes a little piece of, a balloon that, just like anything, just sometimes you get in there because I'm a mouth inflator. A little piece that I'm biting off will get in there. But I know how to act. So yes, can it be a problem? Should you be aware of it? Yes. But if you're responsible and you're aware of it and you use it as a time to educate, in 35 years, thankfully, Lord, I've never had a child who has had any problems with a pop balloon that way. So make sure you're doing your job in being responsible with them. Don't leave a balloon unattended. If you're making a whole bunch of balloons and you have a 1-year-old crawling around the house, probably don't have the balloons in that space. Okay? Alrighty. It's a sweet 16. But I'm not creative enough. I don't know what to do. Here's the thing. You don't need to be creative enough. You just have to be willing to try. Are you creative enough to spell? Are you creative enough to put together a sentence? Are you creative enough to just follow instructions? Then you can do balloons. Balloons have a flow to them. And once you learn that flow, you're fine. Now, there's all levels of creativity. There are some people with balloons who don't do anything more than a 1 or 2 balloon, and they're fine. They enjoy it. And as my mentor used to tell me, chances are you're still probably one of the best balloon twisters in your city, if not in your county. Now, there's other people like me who take it to the extreme, where yes, I'll admit I'm probably more creative with my balloons than most, because I honestly believe anything can be made out of balloons. I welcome challenges. I welcome to having to figure out the complex problems of not only how to make something, but how to make it structurally sound that it'll hold up. So yes, there's all different types of creativity. The question is what are you going to be happy with? If you're not the most creative person in the world, are you going to be happy with being able to put a smile on a kid's face by making a 1 balloon or a 2 balloon dog? Then guess what? You're good. Do you need to always be pushing it? Well, chances are, if you're already in that nature that you always have to be pushing it, you probably have some creative bend anyways because you like solving the problem. And chances are, you're going to be okay too. My one thing is set realistic expectations. Start off slow, build and build and build. Things that I make now that are pretty simple for me to figure out how to do, I would never have been able to do even in the first 5 or probably 8 years of doing balloon twisting, because I had to get to a point where I was willing to be okay with failing and to trying things and experimenting and building off of those things. And having people who are okay with me, make something that most likely was going to be okay, but there's still a chance. So here's the thing. If you feel you're not creative enough, then you've already failed because you haven't even tried. So try. There's a lot of great people on YouTube, a lot of great teachers all over that you can find at conventions and books and videos, and people have been making books and videos. Let's see, I think the earliest book I at one point owned was from the 1960s, maybe the 1970s. And I know there's been videos since the early 1990s is when I know that they really started producing VHS tapes a lot. So think about all those years, 30, 40, 50 years worth of material that you can learn from, even if you don't even create your own designs. Now, my personal goal is for you to get to a point in comfort level where you're creating your own stuff. Because my long-term dream is I want to go to your classes. I want to learn from you and see your creative ideas. But if that's not the case, that's fine. There's enough material out there. I just don't want everyone to be copying everyone else's ideas. I want the art form to keep pushing beyond what I can even dream of. So that's why I personally want people to be creative. But that's not you. But you still have fun learning and pushing and learning from other people. Send me a comment. I'll share with you several people that I recommend who do wonderful stuff and teach great ways of doing it that I know and I've taken some of their classes from. Gilbert Adams, it's an awesome dude. Biggest heart in the world, looks like works from Adam's family, he's about 6'7". But man, he comes up with some of the most creative ideas. And I'll go to him when I need a creative idea. He's not on YouTube, but he has videos. And there's people like that you'll might not find on YouTube, but they're masters at coming up with ideas that you can use. So if you're not creative, that's fine. There's more material out there than you'll ever be able to do it all. But if you are creative, it's a great medium to just keep pushing the envelope. Hope that helps. Did someone say 17? So I hope that helps you with these frequently asked questions and common concerns about balloon twisting that I was able to find online. And I hope this sets most of your concerns and stressors at ease. Balloons are an art form. There's some science behind how we do it, but it's about being relaxed and being at ease with it. Again, it doesn't matter if it comes to, are you concerned about it being popped or being creative enough? There's simple solutions to all those things. And I hope through this series, you see that. And if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, or anything that, maybe there's another question you have or concern you have that I didn't bring up in this series, leave a comment and I will respond. And if we need to, we'll make a video about that too. Because ultimately, I want to help you be comfortable in this beautiful art form. I want you to master something that you can be passionate about and love. And it might just be for your own kid's party, or it might be something as a side hustle. It might be something that's a long-term career. I don't know. But if I can play a small part in that journey for you, I want to help. Because my ending goal is I would love to someday go to some of your classes and learn things from you that I never thought of. So if I can help you in the early stages of that, help you midway through that, help you push your comfort zones, then I'm happy. Because ultimately, what it comes down to is this. A smile is free. A thank you only takes a moment. But an encouraging word at the right time can change a life forever. For me, I had a lot of great encouraging words from mentors who encouraged me on my journey in balloons. If I can spread that to the next generation of twisters, and you can spread smiles, spread thank yous, and spread encouraging words, then it's a good day. Adios.